Hello and welcome back for another Torah Tuesday. This week we're picking things up in Exodus chapter 18 verse 13, and we're going to go through verse 18. So 13 through 18. I'm going to begin as usual by reading from my translation from the Hebrew. Now on the next day, Moses sat to judge the people. The people stood by Moses from morning until the evening. The father-in-law of Moses saw all that he was doing for the people. He said, "What is this thing that you are doing for the people? Why are you sitting alone while all the people are standing around you from morning to night?" Moses said to his father-in-law, "Because the people are coming to me to inquire of God. For whenever they have a matter, it comes to me, and I judge between a person and their neighbor, and I make known the statutes of the deity and his instructions." The father-in-law of Moses said to him, "The thing you are doing is not good. You will surely wear out, both you and these people who are with you, for this thing is too heavy for you. You are not able to do it alone." Now, Jethro goes on to say more than that, but we'll save it for next week. This will be enough for us to tackle today. So last week, we observed as Jethro arrived at the camp, as he reunited with Moses, and as they together offered sacrifices to Yahweh and had what appears to be a covenant meal together. This passage, beginning in verse 13, happens on the next day. So this is immediately after the meal they shared together in God's presence that Moses gets right back to work. And apparently a day in the life of Moses includes a lot of sitting while people are lined up waiting to talk to him. His sitting is similar to a king sitting on his throne. It's an authoritative position, and people are lined up. They're standing. And the word stood here implies an attentive waiting and watching. This word has appeared a number of other times in Exodus chapter 5, verse 20, chapter 7, verse 15, chapter 17, verse 9, chapter 33, verses 8 and 21, 34, verse 2, and maybe the most interesting example of it is in chapter 15, verse 8, which says that the waters of the sea stood at attention as the people walked through. So the people are standing, and they're standing for long hours waiting for their turn with Moses. And this has the potential not just of wearing Moses out from how many hours he is sitting and attending to their needs, but also wearing the people out who have to wait a long time. Moses' singular leadership was not good for anybody because it meant a long wait and a trying situation for all of them. So Jethro cannot keep his thoughts to himself here, and he speaks into Moses' situation. As a wise father-in-law will do, he says, "What is this thing you are doing?" The word thing here is the sort of generic word davar, which can mean word or matter or issue or thing. We're about to arrive at Sinai, and the people are going to get 10 words from God, or the 10 commandments, as we call them in English. It's the 10 devarim, the word davar in plural. So interestingly, in this passage, from verses 13 through 27, which is this one episode with Jethro giving advice to Moses on this particular day, the word davar appears 10 times. So we have a sort of narrative, literary hint of what's to come. God will give 10 words in chapter 20, but here the foreign Midianite priest is giving 10 words, or he's using the word davar 10 times. And he is giving advice to Moses that, as we will see, Moses takes as good advice and he follows it. So Moses is willing to learn from someone outside his community, and God uses Jethro's wisdom to help Moses become a better leader. The plan is for Moses to darash, for him to inquire of God whenever there's something really tricky that they're not sure what to do about. They're not sure what God's will would be in that particular situation. The verb darash can become a noun by sticking an M on the front of it, and then it's the word midrash. So the inquiry, or the result of having inquired. So probably what's happening here is Moses is receiving judicial oracles from God. He's bringing God the hard cases where God hasn't given them the revelation that they need to know what his will is. And Moses is bringing those questions to God, and he's getting an answer. We have an example of what this might have looked like in Leviticus chapter 24, where there's an ambiguity in how to apply the law because the person in question who has violated the law is not a full-blooded Israelite. So they go to God and ask, okay, what do we do about this? And God gives his response that the law applies to everyone, whether they're full-blooded Israelites or not. That's in Leviticus 24. It appears that this is kind of the backstory to some of the emergence of Israel's law, that some of it emerged as case law. That is, Moses would bring a case to God and God would render judgment or render a decision on that Moses would then communicate to the people. This is a big task. A couple of things stand out to me about this. First, Moses is experiencing leadership as a delegate. This is not Moses coming up with the best way to run the country or him dishing out his own wisdom. His job is to mediate between God and the people and pass along Yahweh's decisions. What I love about that is that at Sinai, and we're not even at Sinai yet in terms of the narrative of Exodus, but at Sinai, God does not give his people a law that is a fixed collection and then say, all right, have a nice life, and now you're on your own to figure out how to put it into practice. From the beginning, the law is relational. It's interactive. God is expecting his people to keep coming back to him, to ask questions, and to find out what his will is. It's not something they're to go out and try to do on their own. So there's a relational quality to Moses's leadership and God's leadership of the people. Jethro makes a comment in verse 17 that I think is really fascinating. He says, "The thing you are doing is not good." And that might that might ring a bell for you. In Genesis chapter 2, verse 18, after giving a command to Adam, to the first human, God says, "It is not good for the human to be alone." And here Jethro echoes that by saying, the thing you are doing is not good. You will surely wear out both you and these people who are with you, for this thing is too heavy for you. You are not able to do it alone. So it begins with not good and ends with alone, just like Genesis 2:18. Now, Moses is apparently listening very carefully, because if we flip ahead to Numbers chapter 11, verse 14, this is on the other side of their year at Sinai. Moses is feeling overwhelmed again as a leader. It's interesting that Sinai, the year that they spend at Sinai, is bracketed by two stories of Moses being overwhelmed. We have Exodus 18, which we're looking at right now, and then Numbers chapter 11. In Numbers 11:14, Moses echoes Jethro's words. He says, "I myself am not able alone to carry all these people, for it is too heavy for me." So we have several echoes of Jethro's words here. Not able, alone, these people, too heavy. Now, Moses has reorganized these thoughts. He sees himself as the one carrying the people, which is erroneous because, as we'll find out in chapter 19, Yahweh carried the people from Egypt and brought them to himself on eagle's wings. So Jethro had said, this thing is too heavy for you. That is, the burden of leadership is too heavy. And Moses reconceives this as the people themselves are too heavy, and I'm responsible to carry all of them. He has an inflated sense of his own role in relation to the people. Instead of just seeing himself as the mediator, he's now feeling like it all falls on his shoulders. This inflated sense of leadership is part of what leads to his burnout. He has misassessed or misdiagnosed the situation in Israel. Now, I talk a little bit more about this in my published dissertation, Bearing Yahweh's Name at Sinai, a re-examination of the name command of the Decalogue, which is a mouthful. This is my dissertation on the command not to take the Lord's name in vain. And I do talk about this passage and its echoes. This book happens to be on sale, so if you're watching this in August of 2024, all month it's on sale at the Eisenbrauns website. If you use the code SUMER, S-U-M-E-R, it's like summer with only one M, it's 40% off. It doesn't go on sale very often, usually just once a year, so this is a good time to pick it up if you've been wanting it. Just know that it's very technical. I don't want you to order it, spend all your money on it, and then be mad at me because you can't understand it. There's Hebrew and Greek and all sorts of other things. But if you want more technical stuff, that might be for you. On a more devotional note, I feel like this passage has been really meaningful to me. I have a career that is very demanding, and I often find that people are coming to me and they're wanting answers about the Bible. I often get messages from YouTube viewers, from Facebook friends, from people on X or Twitter, from students, from former students, from friends at church. I love it when people ask me Bible questions. I love it when people ask me to write something or to speak somewhere. Like, all of that is really fun for me. But it can get overwhelming when the requests are more than I can keep up with. And sometimes people are like, why are you doing so much? And there was a time when my response to that was, well, they just keep coming and they just keep asking me to do these things. So like, what can I say? And then I read Exodus 18 and I felt convicted because Moses needs to learn to work smarter, not harder. Moses is sort of feeling this martyrdom that, well, there's only me, and I have to be the one to do this. And Jethro helps him discover the value of delegation and building up better structures of leadership, so that not only so that Moses isn't worn out, but so that the people don't have to stand in line all day long waiting to talk to him. So that has prompted me to ask another question. What is the unique thing that only I could do? And everything else should be delegated to other people or invited. How can I invite other people into this? So often now when I get an invitation to write or to speak or to endorse a book or whatever, if I can't do it, or even before I decide whether I can do it, my question to the Lord is this for me, or is this coming across my desk because you want me to connect this opportunity with someone who needs an opportunity? And so instead of seeing like, well, it's just all coming to me, like, what can I do? I'm realizing that part of my calling is to help other people find their place in the academy. And so I've been saying no a lot more often to requests. And when I say no, I often will say, here's somebody that you should ask, or you could ask if you want help filling that need. And then friends of mine who are less public facing, they maybe don't have a YouTube channel or they're not on podcasts or whatever, can then find good work to do. So that's been an interesting shift for me, and it has relieved some of the burden of just having too much on my plate. And I feel like it was this chapter in Exodus that helped me to see that my style of work, where it's just like, well, it came to me, so I guess I have to do it, was actually not smart. And Jethro helped me to see there are other ways of exercising our vocation in this world. So I don't know who out there needs to hear that, but I hope that that's encouraging to you. We should always be asking the Lord, is this for me or is this for someone else? And that question can help us to sort through all the different demands on our time so that we can bring our best offering to the Lord and serve others well. So I hope that's helpful. Next week, we'll finish up this passage with Jethro and hear what is his solution for delegation and how does that play out. In the meantime, have a great week.